welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today I am going to do a totally different type of video than I have done so far. This is just going to be a sit down and chat type of video. I told you all that I would do a secondary infertility miscarriage video, and now that I am feeling better, I am finally ready to do it. And so I'm gonna try to keep this short and to the point and try not to ramble too much. So you may or may not know that my husband and I suffer from secondary infertility. And what that means is that we have a child, but we have had trouble conceiving, sustaining a pregnancy since having him. So I got pregnant naturally on the very first cycle that we tried with my son Garrett. He's almost 7. It was like, hey, let's have a baby. Okay. And I was pregnant the very first cycle that we tried. And to be honest, I was pretty shocked that it happened that easily, because I've heard, you know, it can take a year or whatever. So I was not expecting it to happen that quick, but I was very thankful that it did. And I knew, I was like, you know, this probably isn't the norm. If we have other kids, it's probably not going to happen this easily. Tracking ovulation, I wasn't temping, I wasn't taking supplements. I think I started taking prenatal vitamins, but I got pregnant like immediately. But when Garrett was 1, actually on his first birthday, we decided that we would start trying again. And we conceived again. Very first cycle, trying, no help, no supplements, no ovulation tracking, nothing, just good timing again. And so I was like, okay, maybe I'm just fertile myrtle, you know, some people are. So that was awesome, because we knew from the get-go we wanted at least 4 kids, we wanted a big family. And so we were thrilled. We put a big brother shirt on Garrett and we went over to his, well, backtrack. When we found out we were pregnant the first time, I was young, I was 25, and I never thought, oh, I should wait to announce, because what if I have a miscarriage or things like that. I knew that those things happened, but it wasn't something that I thought about happening to me. So I was quick to announce. I think we announced on Facebook like that night, and we went and told the whole family. Yeah, and my pregnancy was great. I had Garrett. And so when I got pregnant the second time, I didn't think anything about it again. I was like, well, why would I have a miscarriage? I got pregnant easily the first time. I have this beautiful baby boy, you know. So I found out I was pregnant. We slapped a big brother shirt on Garrett. We went and told our family. We posted it on Facebook. If it wasn't that same day, it was within a few days of finding out. But I had been out shopping that day, one day, and I felt fine. I was in my first trimester, got home from shopping, went to the bathroom, and when I wiped, I saw that I was spotting, and I was like, oh no. Immediately started freaking out, because I never had spotting when I was pregnant with Garrett. So I knew something was wrong. Called Chad, he was at work. He came home and we called the doctor. The doctor said, you know, if it gets worse, if the bleeding gets worse, then you're soaking through a pad, then go to the emergency room. Long story short, we ended up at the emergency room. I was miscarrying, and I passed the baby a few days later. That was really hard for me. And you know, like I said, it's one of those things that you never really think that it's going to happen to you. Like, you know it happens, but just like being in a car accident or having a terminal illness, like it's one of those things that you know happen to people, but you don't think that it's going to happen to you. So when it happened to me, I was devastated, and I decided I needed time off from trying again. So we actually took a whole year off from trying when he was 2, and we tried for 4 years. I did take a short little break right like before our wedding, because obviously I didn't want to not be able to wear my wedding dress. So we got married March 2017, so almost 2 years ago. We took like a 4-month break, I think. After our wedding, we were back to trying, and that's when I was like tracking everything, using ovulation tests and all that. And so we tried that way for a year, and I still wasn't pregnant. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm in my 30s now, my clock is ticking, I am gonna see a doctor. So I made an appointment with an OBGYN, and I also ordered something called OvuSense. Not sponsored or anything by them, but OvuSense is a ovulation tracker. It's 99.9% accurate in detecting ovulation. It's wonderful for people who have irregular cycles, women who have PCOS. It's a vaginal sensor that you wear every night, and it tracks your core body temperature and accurately detects ovulation by doing so. The way that it works is you plug this little reader into your phone. There's an app. You place the sensor onto this. It downloads your temperature and it detects ovulation. So I had been using that. I'd been using that for a few months before I saw the OBGYN. I knew I was ovulating because of using OvuSense. I then went to this OBGYN and was like, look, I know I'm ovulating. We've been trying for 4 years. We've been pregnant twice, got pregnant super easy. What's going on? And she was just like, you're overweight. Surely you have PCOS because you're overweight, and yada yada yada. And I was like, okay. And no tests, no nothing. She just basically diagnosed me with PCOS because I'm plus size, and was like, I want you to lose 15 pounds, and then I'll put you on a medication that's gonna help you ovulate and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, but I already knew I ovulated, but she seemed to think that OvuSense was a joke, or I don't know. She was like, no, you're probably not ovulating, blah, blah, blah. None of those things work for women. If they have PCOS, they can have false readings and all that, which I know is true for like ovulation tests, but OvuSense does work for women with PCOS. So even if I did have PCOS, if it's saying I'm ovulating, then I'm ovulating. So I was like, okay, so I lost the weight. I ended up losing almost 40 pounds. And I went back to her, I got the medication. I think we did like 2 rounds of it, and I wasn't pregnant. I think she prescribed me 3 rounds. At first she was like, I'm only gonna do 3 rounds with you. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. I was like, okay. So I think we did 2 rounds. And in the meantime, we made an appointment with a urologist to have Chad checked out. And we did find out that we have some male infertility stuff going on, but he had a couple issues that wasn't ideal for conceiving, but it wasn't something that was preventing us from conceiving, but probably just making it a little harder than it needed to be. So we started Chad on an array of supplements, trying all these things. We are finally now, he is taking this supplement from Theralogics. It's called Conception XR. It is a motility support formula. Helps with sperm structure and function, motility, all that, and it is certified by NSF International. So he is taking these. I started taking Avivite by the same company, Theralogics. It is essential nutrients before conception, helps with improved egg quality, has folate, and it's ideal for women over 30 who are trying to conceive, and it's just a good supplement for women. Chad also takes, we actually both take a multivitamin. Chad takes Neo Q10, and then I take Avicidal, which is a supplement that promotes healthy ovarian function, egg quality, promotes insulin sensitivity, supports normal hormone levels. And this, since I've started taking this, my periods have been so much more regular. This stuff is amazing. I'm starting to get frustrated, even though like we had done 2 or 3, I think we had done, at that point we had done 3 rounds of the fertility medication. It's letrozole, if you guys know what that is. Basically, you take it at a certain point in your cycle and it helps you ovulate. So I called my doctor, my nurse practitioner, not the OBGYN that I saw. And I was like, look, I'm really frustrated. I've done these 3 rounds of letrozole. Chad went and got checked out and we're not getting pregnant. And I'm starting to feel really defeated. You know, the OBGYN basically told me I was not getting pregnant because I'm plus size, even though I've been plus size my entire life. And I was like, I want some answers. You can't just diagnose somebody just by looking at them. So she's like, oh, I agree. She's like, that's ridiculous. And she said that she was going to refer me to a fertility clinic up by Indianapolis. So I was like, okay. So we scheduled that. We go to this consultation at this fertility clinic, and the doctor was super awesome. He was like, you know, like, yeah, you're plus size, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get pregnant. You've been pregnant twice. You have a son. You're with the same partner. Like, something's amiss here. So he wanted to schedule me for an HSG test, which is a test where they check to see if your fallopian tubes are blocked. And then if all that was good, he wanted to do IUI, which is artificial insemination, where they would use Chad's sperm and they would insert it in me in hopes that it would result in a pregnancy. So that was the plan. And he was like, when is your next period due? And I was like, well, it's actually due today, or it was like that day or the next day or something. And he said, okay, well, as soon as you have your period, call and we'll get you set up for the HSG, because I think the way they do it is like immediately after your period. I was like, okay. And we kind of joked like, oh, watch me be pregnant on my own. Ha ha ha, you know, we've been trying for 4 years. Watch us be pregnant at our fertility clinic consult. So anyway, we go home from that. We're feeling good about that, but I'm kind of stressing out because it was going to require a lot of traveling, you know, a couple hours away, and time off work for Chad, not to mention the money and all that, and no guarantee that this is gonna work. So I'm like super stressed out about it, but feeling good that I'm actually having someone who wants to help us. And the next day I go to the gym, and I get done with my workout and I go to the bathroom, and I had like the tiniest bit of spotting on my toilet paper. I was like, okay, I started my period. And so I went home. I even told my friends, I was like, yeah, I'm not pregnant again. Like, I started my period. And then like nothing happened after that. So I was like, that's weird. So the next morning I was like, I'm gonna take a pregnancy test. And I took a pregnancy test, and there was the faintest line there. And I thought, this can't be positive. There's no way. So of course I went and bought like a million more pregnancy tests, and I took them, and they were all positive. And I was like, oh my God, like, what are the odds that we would try for 4 years and go to a consult with a fertility doctor, and I was actually pregnant at our consult and never even knew it. And it just blew my mind. And we were so excited. We're so excited. So we decided we weren't gonna announce on social media until I was out of my first trimester, just because I had had a loss before. But we wanted to tell my in-laws, and then we were gonna wait until after my first ultrasound to tell the rest of the family. So we went and told my in-laws that I was pregnant, and we were just over the moon excited. I felt like it was just perfect timing. I'd been so stressed out about how we were gonna make this work with Chad missing work and the travel and all that for doing IUI. And then I was pregnant, and it was just, it was such a blessing. And I thought, okay, it took 4 years, but you know, this was God's timing. It's not my timing. Things happen when God wants them to happen, not when you want them to happen. And it was kind of just like a reality check for me. Like, I thought, this is it. Surely God did not make us wait 4 years to get pregnant after having a miscarriage, just to have another miscarriage. I was like, this is gonna be it. We're gonna have a healthy baby and all that. So we went to the doctor. They confirmed that I was pregnant. All was well. I had morning sickness. I'd never had morning sickness before, and the nurses at the doctor kind of joked like, hey, that's a good sign. They said the ones that make you sick are the ones that stick, is what they said to me. And I was like, oh yeah, because like you have super high pregnancy hormone, all that. And of course, I was a little paranoid, so I kept taking pregnancy tests like every day, like the cheap ones, just to see that line progression, because as it goes on, the pregnancy test line is going to get darker and darker. And I was getting ready to leave one night to go pick Garrett up from ABA, and I went to the bathroom right before I was getting ready to leave, and when I wiped, there was blood on the toilet paper, and I lost it, because I knew it had happened to me before. It was more blood than, it was more than spotting, and there was even a little bit in the toilet, and I just lost it. And I had to leave right then to go pick Garrett up. So I like get my stuff together, bawling my eyes out, calling the doctor on my way to pick up Garrett, and they're like, well, that can be perfectly normal in the first trimester, blah, blah, blah. You know, is it like super heavy and all this? And of course I'm saying no. And then they're like, well, that, you know, it could just be spotting and all this. And I just knew that I was having a miscarriage. I just knew. The bleeding kept getting heavier and heavier, and if you've had a miscarriage before, you are going to the bathroom constantly and checking and checking and checking to see what's going on. It was not easing up, and so the next day they had us come in to the office and they did an ultrasound. I should have been almost 10 weeks at that point. I think, yeah, I should have been about 10 weeks. And I went into the ultrasound and there was no heartbeat and the baby was only measuring at 6 weeks. I was just sobbing. I was so upset, and I could not believe that had happened to us again. I was like it felt like, excuse me, it felt like the cruelest joke to wait that long to get pregnant again after a miscarriage and then have it happen again. It was just the biggest slap in the face. I was a wreck. I was so devastated, and I was so devastated, and I was just like, I don't understand why this is happening, because, you know, we got pregnant so easily with Garrett and had this beautiful boy and no issues, and then we got pregnant so easily again, and then we had a miscarriage, and then we had to try so hard to get pregnant the third time, and we had another miscarriage. And I don't understand why. So the plan is now, it's March, and the plan is that we are going to start trying again this month and pray that it happens naturally, pray that it happens soon. And if not, we will be calling the fertility clinic back and seeing about doing IUI. I'm 33, my husband's 32. Our son is gonna be 7 next month. You know, we're not old, but we're not young either, and we really want this to happen soon. We're just praying that God will bless us with a baby and we will be able to carry that baby to term. And yeah, so that's kind of our secondary infertility journey so far. You know, we have always wanted a big family, and if all we ever have is Garrett, then we've been more than blessed, because he is such an amazing little boy, and he has blessed our lives more than I could have ever dreamed. But I want so bad to give him a sibling, and especially since he has autism, I want him to have a little buddy, and someone to look out for him, you know, and just so they can be close. And you know, what's gonna happen when Chad and I are gone? I would love for Garrett to have siblings to make sure that he's looked after and he's okay. And obviously that's not the only reason why we want kids. We've always wanted at least 4 kids, but I love being a mother so much, and I just don't understand why it's so hard for us to grow our family. You know, there's so many people out there who just have kids without even trying, and a lot of times those women don't even want their children, or you know, they're not even trying for them, and it's really hard because I feel like a lot of times the women who really want it sometimes struggle, and I know there's women out there who are suffering from infertility and they've never had a positive test, they've never had a child, and they may never have a child naturally. They may have to adopt or something like that, and my heart goes out to those women because I cannot imagine. Like I said, I'm so very thankful that we have Garrett, but secondary infertility still hurts. It's still infertility, and it still hurts when you just love being a mother and you want to grow your family. If you're still here after this long, thank you so much for watching. I know I probably rambled. Oh, and I did say that I would do a Q&A, and I had 2 people message me questions that they wanted me to answer on this video, and I'm gonna keep their name private since they private messaged me instead of asking in the comments. But let me pull up here. Okay, I had someone ask, would you foster or would you adopt if you could not have more children? You know, I used to always say I don't think I could ever adopt because I would be afraid that I wouldn't love the child like I love Garrett. But that perspective has changed for me. I never considered adoption ever until I'd say within the last year. It's definitely not something we're actively looking into, but it is something that I'm more open-minded to. As far as fostering goes, no, I do not think that I could foster. I know that you're supposed to do it for the children and not for yourself, but I don't think that mentally I could handle it. I don't think I could handle getting attached and then them going somewhere else. And I also don't think that it would be a healthy environment for Garrett, because Garrett doesn't handle change of routine the best, or just change in general. And I think it would be really confusing for him, since he does have autism, for kids to be in and out. And yeah, I don't think that that would be a good fit for us. But adoption is something that we may consider one day. I don't know. The other question was, why have you guys not done IVF? Well, first of all, most fertility clinics have a BMI limit that is very low. I believe most are 30. They want your BMI to be 30 or 35. IVF is very expensive, and thankfully our insurance does cover some of IVF. We've not considered IVF. Let me rephrase that. I've looked into IVF, but it's not something that we've really sat down and talked about. I know that there's a place, actually my nurse that I had when I got my gallbladder removed, we somehow started talking about it, and there's a place in New York called CNY, and they do IVF for like a fraction of the cost of other places. Like most places around here are around $25,000. This place is like $6,000 to $8,000. They don't have a BMI limit, and women travel from all over to go there. Like, apparently it's amazing, but that's travel and that's time off work, and that's still $6,000 to $8,000. Like, that's a lot of money. And so yes, I've looked into IVF. Chad, I don't really know how Chad feels about IVF because we haven't really talked about it a ton, but he's kind of whatever we need to do kind of guy, or whatever I want to do kind of guy. And I know if it's something I really wanted to do, that he would be supportive, and we would probably do it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that this video kind of covered everything you guys were wondering about us, and I hope that it wasn't super boring, and I hope I didn't ramble too much, and I apologize for crying, but it's a sensitive topic, but I actually feel really good kind of talking and getting it off my chest. So I look forward to some encouraging words and positive feedback, and hopefully no one will be mean, and I will see you guys in our next video. Good night.